अगले 30 में आप बदल सकते हैं अपने लाइफ का ट्रैक एंड नेवर लुक बैक।
यार छोड़ो ये सारे हैक्स एंड सिंपली लर्न टू गेट अहेड।
जैसे कि दानिश, a civil engineer turned data scientist who decided to simply learn.
और कैसे हुआ ये पॉसिबल?
With a course from a premier university, मेरे करियर ने लिया एक नया डायरेक्शन।
True champion who upskilled to win big. How big?
A massive hike that transformed my life.
Danish changed gears pretty early in the race. But Prasan wanted to explore more to get ahead. इसीलिए उसने करा Simply Learn. From mechanical engineering to a data analyst and a podcaster in his free time.
ऐसा करियर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन कैसे ब्रो?
सिंपली लर्न के इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट से सीखा लाइव और खुद बन गया डेटा एक्सपर्ट।
इतना कुछ इतनी जल्दी डिफिकल्ट तो रहा होगा।
With a well-structured course, it felt like a piece of cake.
That is simply awesome. What's also awesome is that 9 साल के long career के बाद Nitin didn't choose a quick fix. He just added data science
Into the mix. Nitin, how did you change the game?
Worked on real industry problems to become the real deal.
a joint family job. Responsibilities तो बहुत थी, but nothing could stop Nitin from getting what an all-rounder.
Day हो या night, with flexible learning, you can always make it right.
Passion या situation चाहे जो भी हो, नितिन, दानिश और प्रसन्न की तरह you too will find your way to get ahead when you simply learn. क्योंकि आपके लिए shortcuts नहीं, simply get ahead with Simply Learn.
Recording in progress.
Hello, everyone. We'll be starting the free program preview on how you can unleash your professional potential in cybersecurity. We also have a program preview on Caltech CDMU Bootcamp upcoming after that. Also, I can see a lot of introductions on chat coming in. Thank you for joining. And I'm your host, Rasha, all the way from Bangalore, India. And I'm thrilled to be your host today. So drop us a hello on chat here. Let us know where are you tuning in from. And also, please do mention your name as well. Sometimes we are not able to make out your name from your email ID. I hope you understand. So I can see Thanjavur has joined from Tamil Nadu, India. I can see Jerry has joined from Philippines. I can see Amit has joined from Bangalore, India. I can see Dhruv has joined from India. I can see someone has joined from Nigeria. We have folks from Gujarat, India. We have folks from Pakistan. We have folks joining us from Ghana. I can see Joseph has joined from Ghana here. And I see a lot of folks from different parts of the world, specifically joining us from USA. I can see from India. I can see from Nigeria. I can see from Canada, Sri Lanka. So we've gotten a diverse set of folks here, and would love to know your introduction on chat here. So do let us know where you're joining us from. It would be great, to network here, right, before we start the session. And also, once again, thank you for joining us. I can see a lot of folks are still joining in and getting settled in. So I'm just dropping in a message on chat once again here. I'm Rasha, and I'm your host for today's webinar. I'm joining from all the way from Bangalore, India. So would love to know where you're joining us from before we start. We already have our speaker here with us, William Bailey, who will be basically taking us through the program preview of Caltech Cybersecurity Bootcamp. So before that, please, keep the introductions coming in. We're loving it. And why not network a bit, right? These events are amazing for networking. As you can see, folks are joining in globally. So just make sure that you don't share your personal information here, that's all. So let's just wait for a few minutes more before we start. Meanwhile, please get settled in and keep the introductions coming in on chat. So we'll start in exact 2-3 minutes. And before that, I'll just take you through a few ground rules here. You can, if you have any questions, you can put down your questions in the Q&A box that is just beside the chat box, which we are messaging here right now. Please do navigate yourself towards the Q&A box because we get a lot of questions during the session and we would love to answer all of your queries. So just make sure that you put on your questions in the Q&A box and keep it related to cybersecurity because the session is about cybersecurity. And this session has been recorded. In case you want to go through the recording of the session again, in case you have missed something, you can always expect a follow-up email with the recording link and also the webinar certificate and the bonus offer for attending this webinar. Also, to request a proof of attendance for this webinar, you need to enter your full name in the post-webinar survey. That will basically be going up in the webinar certificate. So make sure to do that. That happens when basically I end the session. When the session ends, the session duration for this one is 60 minutes. So after 60 minutes, I'll be ending the session here on Zoom, and you'll be getting a pop-up of post-webinar survey where you can enter your full name for the proof of attendance. Awesome. I can see a lot of introductions coming in. We'll just start in 2 minutes before we start the session. And please keep the introductions coming in meanwhile. Before we start, just to let you know, this program is powered by Simplilearn, world's online #1 bootcamp. We are very proud that we have been in the digital skills training space for almost 13 years. And we have trained over 5 million plus professionals in over 150 plus countries. And we're very proud that we are transforming lives or empowering people via digital skills. So once again, welcome. We'll go through the agenda here. So obviously, we'll be getting to know more about you. We'll be talking more about what concerns you have when it comes to cybersecurity career in general. We'll be covering a lot about cybersecurity careers, and we'll be talking about what the Caltech's Cybersecurity Bootcamp offers, and also how this program gets you job ready, and also we'll be taking you through the enrollment steps, and there will be a special duration for the Q&A part. So we'll try to take as many questions as possible throughout the session. But in case we miss out your questions, so please don't worry. Have some patience. We'll take those questions in the Q&A part, so you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, I think I can see William on the camera here. So before we start, I just have a quick poll question for you here. Just 1 second.
In a moment, I think we'll have the poll show up on the screen. It'll pop up, a multiple choice question.
Yes, yeah. Oh, it was hidden. Okay. You can see basically the poll question on your screen here now. So as I said, we'll start with getting to know you better. So how many years of experience do you currently have? So you can see 4 quick options here. If you're currently studying, you can select the first one. If you have 0 to 3 years of experience, you can select the second one. If you have 3 to 5 years of experience, the third one, and the last one, more than 5 years of experience. So I can already see the polls have started moving in pretty quickly. We've gotten a great active audience here. That's great. And I can still see the introductions coming in on chat. And I think folks have started pinging their experience on chat as well. So for folks who are pinging on chat, please do go and look up. There is a poll on screen. And you can just quickly go and just submit by selecting an option and clicking on submit. So it's that easy. So I'll just keep this poll alive for 10 seconds more. Meanwhile, I can see a lot of folks on chat. They're currently studying 0 to 3 years experience. More than 5, I can see a lot of currently studying as well, 0 to 3. So that's great. So I can see most of the folks have already shared their vote. So I'll just give 5 seconds more. So please quickly go and vote on how many years of experience do you currently have. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So let me quickly end the poll and share the result with you and our speaker here. So as we can see, the folks who have joined us here are basically 54% of them are currently studying. We can see 31% of them are having 0 to 3 years of experience. And we can see very few of the folks have 3 to 5 years of experience. And we can see 13% of the folks have more than 5 years of experience. So that's great. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now moving on. As I said, we already have a speaker here with us, William Bailey, who will be taking us through the program preview of Caltech Cybersecurity Bootcamp. William, would you like to give us your introduction?
Sure. Thank you, Rasha. Thank you for having me today. I saw a lot of folks chiming in about their experience, and I have been, we say information security, privacy, and risk. At this point, it's over 25 years. I didn't think it was going to be information security. It was just information technology. And then along the way, we have to start securing these things. I actually have been involved with Simplilearn. I think it's over 10 years now. At Simplilearn, teaching cybersecurity courses, project management courses, a lot of certification courses. Been involved with this program here for a while. And as far as I almost wore my Phillies shirt today because go Phillies in the World Series. I'm involved with the local ISACA and ISSA chapter boards and other people in the community. I've served as a consultant across a whole myriad of industries, financial services, healthcare, retail, government, military, utility. Pretty much, it's almost like you name it. And the funniest thing, one time I'm teaching a course, we talk about the water ISAC, and then at 2:00 in the afternoon, we have a boil water advisory. And people go, how did you know that there was such a thing? I said, well, yes, there is. And I've, besides being a consultant, I've actually built programs up. Sometimes they bring me as a consultant. I was with a financial institution for I don't know how many years it was, and I had to totally revamp their program, get them ready to go, so that to get past the regulatory exams. And actually, I talked with someone who took over, and they're still going. So they've had no issues. So it's sort of I handed it off to someone else. So when I moved on to other avenues. So, and yes, go Phillies, of course, the city of brotherly love, as they say.
Awesome. Thank you so much for a great introduction. And again, like go Phillies, as you said. I think for folks, I think I've just shared a reminder of, if you have any questions about the webinar certificate and the recording of the session, so you can just go through that on the chat here. As we move forward, we'll be talking about careers in cybersecurity. Let's start with how exactly cybersecurity is playing a vital role in our business and personal lives. Would you share your comment on that, William?
Sure, absolutely. PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, they performed this digital trust insight study, and it's about time finally CISOs and CIOs. And that's where I joked earlier about the information technology and information security. The technology just wants to get things running, get it out the door, whereas the security person is usually the voice of no. But finally, the CIOs have admitted that they haven't fully mitigated the risks. There's been this big rush for remote work, cloud adoption, and we definitely saw it with COVID-19. COVID-19, we sent people home. And we figured out security afterwards because everybody had to go home. So 2021, folks were finally the CIOs were finally realizing, hey, we have to address this. And oh, by the way, remote work is here to stay. So that's the first part. Is as much as I'm seeing in the industry, there's a push to get people back in the office. There's still a lot of remote work. There are people who will not go back to the office, and it makes cybersecurity different. Because you're not going into this, SCIF, a secure computer infrastructure facility. You're in your house. You're in your basement, right? You're in a residential area. And so it changes the dynamics of the risks. The second part, mobile and Internet of Things. And this just runs the gamut. So the first thing, I guess, how many of us have a vehicle that is less than 5 years old?
Mm-hmm.
Right, or at least one, right? And I say that because I've seen the difference over the years, and now your car is a rolling computer, and your computer knows what speed you're driving, all the G-forces, your braking, the engine performance, and it's storing it all. And it's not just storing it, right? But it's actually shipping it back to the manufacturer in real time. So it's not, I have an old car that's pushing 13 years. One of my cars, and it's funny because it's like, no, it doesn't phone home until you take it to the dealer. And you take it to the dealer, and the dealer says, why have you been resetting this indicator? And I said, well, because it was annoying me. Well, today's cars don't do that. Today's car, it's phoning home all the time. It has an always on connection, and it knows exactly where you are. And so we see that, that the mobile in our cars, you see the mobile in your phone, and you see Google knows exactly where you've been, and you do a Google search and it says you were here 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I forgot that. But Google knew, and Google knew because it was on your phone. It was on your Android phone, or you're using Google services on your iPhone.
I think without even searching for it, they actually know it, and they ask you for a review, right? How was your experience? Like, you have been here. That is kind of creepy, but yeah.
Our mobile is always with us, and it's a lot of us have this either cellular connectivity or Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi hotspots. So the mobile technologies are there. How many of us have thermostats that connect to the internet? Okay, I have to admit, yes. Right, I have one of those. Right, how many of us have door cameras, the video cameras that you can tell when someone's at your door and it's recording? And you see it used. It's used in law enforcement, but also the Internet of Things gets into other things such as your healthcare. and I'm holding my arm up because that's what they do in that ad for, I think it's the Inspire device. So your Internet of Things is in you. It's the alternative to CPAP. So yeah, that's in you. That's implanted in you. It's not going anywhere. And of course, everything, it's all connected via the great cloud. So it's the really fast growing threat vectors because we don't have this fortress that we used to have. We don't confine where the data lives. The data is accessible anywhere. So now if it's accessible anywhere, well, now the number of people who can attack you is greatly increased. And that we're seeing, it used to be nation states were well funded. And there were situations like Stuxnet years ago where, yes, that was a nation state type of action. It took a lot of money to fund that. Well, now we have cyber criminals and ransomware. Probably everyone has heard that word, ransomware. I don't even think I can watch TV, watch a news program, and not hear the word ransomware at least once. I think it's virtually impossible. And the cyber criminals, well, why are they so successful? Well, especially with ransomware, it funds itself. Oh, I created this breach. I completed this hack. I got paid. That funds the next one. So now we're seeing the cyber criminals are organized. It is a business to them. It's not just fun and games anymore. We've gone far beyond script kiddies.
We agree to that. Thank you so much for taking us through that. Moving on, we talk about skills, a lot of skills which we cover in this program as well, and a lot of skills they can pursue in cybersecurity, which basically they open up to so many career paths. Maybe can you tell us about these career paths and skills? And also before that, William would love to know, how did you start your journey, and what was the most challenging part of your career in cybersecurity?
Wow, where did I get my start? I sort of backed into it, and an organization said, we need someone to manage our antivirus platform. Okay, I can figure that out. And it was weird because it was like, it's an antivirus management role, but you're also going to be helping the application developers. And so it sort of like tripped upon this. Oh, we need to lock XYZ down. Oh, we need to secure this type of scenario. So it sort of backed into that role. And what's been the biggest challenge? My biggest challenge is answering questions like that. No, the biggest challenge I think is finding the resources and finding the path, I guess, really to go from the accidental learner to, oh yes, this is now my career, and again finding that light bulb moment, And back in the day, I was fortunate because Barnes and Noble and Borders and I'm trying to think, B. Dalton and all these other booksellers were still around, and they all had nice, comfy chairs. And yes, I may have sat in those chairs for many hours on end, and I'm probably one of the reasons why all those chairs are gone. Those chairs, you can't just hang out at a bookstore. And they don't have the selection of books either, to be honest. So sort of the most difficult thing is how do you make that pivot from I'm interested to, oh yes, this is my job, or and like I backed into that role, and then it was, well, how do I get the next role? Because you've got to step up your game to get the next role.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for answering that, and also let's talk about cybersecurity skills.
So what you see here, we're actually missing a few. If you really want to if you want to nitpick at it, there are infinite number of skills, and in fact, there's this framework. They call it the NICE framework, and you can pick and choose where you want to go. We keep it simple. We'll say, look, there's developers, right? And there's the application security analysts who help those developers to help them write secure code, because it's so much easier if you have a secure code before it gets rolled out. Afterwards, you're fixing bugs, you're patching things, and it's infinitely harder. But that infrastructure that all of this sits on has to be secure. And so, are you using current systems, current hardware, current protocols? Have you set up the firewalls appropriately? And that sort of bleeds down into that network security area, because you set up the infrastructure secure, and then you've got network security components. Like we said, everything goes out into the cloud these days. So how do you architect that? And the threats are out there. We don't have vulnerability analysis here. We would that kind of dovetails with that malware analysts, the vulnerability assessments, the third-party assessments that folks are doing, where maybe you're working as a SOC analyst and you're working as a threat hunter. You're looking at threats that are on your local network. Security analyst or risk assessments. It's folks that are helping to come in usually as they're not part of the project team is what's beneficial there. And we talk about blue team and red team and purple team and yellow team and green team. We've got a whole we got to actually have a whole wheel of these teams. And theoretically, are you a defender or are you an attacker? And we actually, the red team or the offensive testing, they are working as ethical hackers to test an organization, whereas the blue team are working to defend an organization. And cybersecurity, if you find these niches, you may say, hey, I like this malware analysis and threat hunter. I want to take that. I want to become a forensic specialist. Great. That is an area that you could customize it. Or you could say, I want to be more of the security analyst or the risk analyst. And maybe over time you want to become a BSO or a CISO. And not that you have to be an expert in cybersecurity to be those executive kind of roles, but it always helps to understand what the cybersecurity teams are doing, what they can do, what's reasonable, or are you being sold a bill of goods? So this is a good sampling of the roles that are out there. Absolutely. And you can pick if you want to go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, William, for taking us through that. We are getting a very common question on the Q&A box here. Basically, what would be a good start for someone who's just starting off in cybersecurity? What job roles will be the best, for someone who's like a beginner and with no experience in cybersecurity before? What would you recommend them?
Something that comes to mind. There's help desk and service desk if you're new to technology in general. Or a SOC analyst is the term that gets tossed around a lot. SOC analyst is a good entry-level role, and it gets you. That's where the threat hunting. You're examining the logs of the various systems. You're spotting anomalous traffic. You're also supporting the organization. You're supporting the business, and it's sort of a soft skill that we can't forget either. That all of these roles have to be able to talk with their appropriate stakeholders. So SOC analyst oftentimes is a role people say, "Oh, I don't want to be a SOC analyst." I actually know some organizations that they will only bring you in as a SOC analyst specifically. And not that you're going to spend a lot of time there. You're going to come in as a SOC analyst and then you'll branch off into where you want to be. So that's where a lot of us start, is that SOC analyst, and then we sort of branch out into our paths.
So thank you so much, William, for answering. I hope that answers your question. Yes, I think we've gotten a response here on chat here. Now moving on to the next part. So we basically have seen that cybersecurity has been in the news, and it is basically considered one of the most progressive softwares which we have currently. Maybe can you comment on that as well?
Absolutely. We always try to keep these sessions new and fresh with what's new. And Progress Software, I would not want to work for Progress Software right now. The name of this company is Progress Software. They've got a couple software products that are getting them a lot of bad press lately. And this is where we say, oh, what's the relevance of cybersecurity? And I said earlier that you basically, I could look at the news and I would see cybersecurity mentioned at least once. So MoveIt, the MoveIt software is used by a lot of other organizations to move information from one location to another. And it's used across different industries. So there's actually articles in healthcare, there's articles in financial services. You too probably have received a breach notice and some some identity protection. If you're in the United States, you probably got one of these notices for 2 years of identity theft protection or monitoring from Kroll organization. So it was the Clop ransomware group found the vulnerability and has been exploiting it. And so this was actually reported back on May 28th. It's October 17th. We're still hearing cases. And the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, actually just sent a subpoena to Progress Software. I think this was October 5th, I think it was the date that they got that subpoena. That basically the SEC saying, no, we want to see access to this information. It is going to become a bigger issue. And like cross industries, and I said used by third parties. If you have a bank account in the United States or probably even elsewhere in the world, believe it or not, a lot of your banks will use the big third parties, clearinghouses, because it's easier to just for printing your statements, it's easier to ship them off to somebody. And I think one of the third parties was Fiserv. And most people go, I don't know Fiserv. Oh, well, it's XYZ Bank. If they process their statements through Fiserv, guess what? You are probably part of that breach. The other product that they had some problems with this year is WSFTP, which is kind of interesting because this is both on the client and the server. So there's an endpoint that you use and there's a server piece, and really nasty. And this is actually, I believe it hit what CISA calls their known exploited vulnerabilities. So these are vulnerabilities that it's already known, it's being used by ransomware groups. The attackers can escape the server file system and execute commands as if they were on that system. Well, that's pretty scary because we think, oh, it's just a web server, it's just an FTP server. All you can do is upload and download files. All you can do is, access the web content. But no, you can literally access the underlying operating system from anywhere, from the location of your choice. So both very serious breaches that are sort of unfolding.
Oh, that's pretty concerning. Moving on, basically how cybersecurity is it really worth the gamble? As we can see here, CISA's report, data breach, which I think you mentioned about.
Caesars, I don't know if I did because I knew we had it coming up. Because this is an interesting one where Caesars is now unfolding, because Caesars initially said, "Oh, it's just rewards member data." Actually, as you see there, September 14th. Oh, by the way, there were driver's license and social security numbers in that breach. Changes the dynamic just a bit. And this is actually, I think, on our next slide, we have our other big gamble. MGM. And sometimes you don't know MGM as MGM because they may go by another name. Like, I think it's the Borgata in Atlantic City. People are like, oh, that's not MGM. Yes, it is. It is owned by MGM. And here's where we see the quantification. And this is why cybersecurity is starting to get this attention. Because obviously Caesars, I think there's like 5 lawsuits already against Caesars. MGM has already said they expect a $100 million hit from the hack and the data breach. And what's really sad, both of these cases, that we talk about some of the cybersecurity principles, and somebody just failed to do their job one day. They gave away a password, they gave away a credential, and they got in. But then, on that previous slide, we talked about all the different roles. And one of the roles we mentioned were the threat hunters, right? The security analysts, the folks who are looking at the logs, like those SOC analysts. Oh, they didn't find the anomalous activity. So it festered for a while. So, and obviously, the longer it festers, the bigger the price tag.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, moving on, we have talked about the career paths, they can take up in cybersecurity. Basically, we can see a lot of these skills which are required for a cybersecurity career. But do we really need all these skills to become a cybersecurity expert, or we can start somewhere?
So what I'd say, that there's this one saying sometimes that it's a mile wide and like a foot deep, right? It's very, you need to understand where these skills are. And so in certain cases, like when we get into digital forensics, we actually will say, if you get beyond the skill of what you know, yes, you involve someone else. because you could tamper evidence, you could destroy evidence that could be used in an investigation. Incident management, digital forensics. A big part of that is just understanding I've reached the end of my skill set and I need to hand it off to someone else. And to know that there are all these different pieces that come into play, that I can't just do, like, I have to be aware that these other.
Meanwhile, I think we have talked about the skills, we have talked about the career paths you can take up in cybersecurity. So what exactly is stopping you from becoming a cybersecurity expert? You can see a quick poll on your screen, and with this poll, we would love to know what exactly is the biggest challenge, biggest concern when it comes to taking up the cybersecurity career. Like, now that you're here, obviously you're interested in the cybersecurity field, you're curious about it. So you can see like 4 quick options here. This is a multiple choice poll, so you can basically select multiple options because there can be multiple concerns for this particular poll quiz here. So all you need to do is select the options which is basically the most suitable for your query here and submit it. And while I'm speaking, I can see the polls moving in already. And I'll just give 10 seconds more for folks to think on it. And a few of the folks who have not shared. Meanwhile, just browse through the Q&A box here as well. I'll take a few questions as well as we talk about the program in the upcoming slides. Also, we're getting some interesting set of questions here in the Q&A box. So that's great, folks. I see like few folks were sharing their queries on chat here. I'm so sorry. We might miss it. So please do make sure that you go and just put down in the Q&A box. Also, referring to the poll here, so what exactly is stopping you from becoming a cybersecurity expert? So as you can see, there are 4 quick options here. The first one, I can't find a program with a fully comprehensive curriculum. Second one, I don't have the practical exposure I need to become job ready. Third one, I find it difficult to learn from pre-recorded videos. And the last one, my work schedule won't allow me enough time for learning. So these are the basically poll questions which you see here. And we will just, I think, give 5 seconds more for this poll question. And I think, just one second. Okay, so I was saying that I'll just give 5 seconds more for this poll question. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll and also share the result with you folks and William as well. So as we can see, we have gotten the highest amount of votes for the first option here, that I can't find a program with a fully comprehensive curriculum. And we can see some almost half of the folks have voted also for I wouldn't get the practical exposure I need to become job ready. And we can see a few of the folks have voted for I find it difficult to learn from pre-recorded videos, and my work schedule won't allow me enough time for learning. So thank you for sharing your biggest concerns with us. Now moving on to the program review. So we have Caltech Cybersecurity Bootcamp, which basically provides you the comprehensive curriculum with an industry-aligned learning path. You get access to integrated labs, hands-on project for practical experience, online live virtual classrooms with peer and instructor interaction, flexible to fit your lifestyle and schedule in case you are a working professional. The program duration for this one is 6 months. You can just complete it by giving 5 to 10 hours per week. The program fee for this one is $10,000 USD. And we have like financing option available for as low as $880 per month. For folks who basically want to check out the program fee for your region, I can share the link with you here on chat here. So you can go and check out the Caltech Cybersecurity program in much more detail here as well for reference later. So I've just added the link here on chat. So before we move ahead and talk more about the program, William, I just had a question. How does the live virtual classroom look like when it comes to peer and instructor interaction? What kind of interaction happens there, as it is a live virtual classroom, right? So what can folks expect when they join this program? What kind of interaction happens there?
So as far as interaction, of course, part of it, everybody's on Zoom. And so you're going to see your instructor. We encourage all the other students to turn on their cameras. So you actually get to put a face. Who is that person? You see the names. It's not listening. I think someone said, oh, is it listening to a pre-recorded video? No, it is. We stop. We answer questions. We're interactive. And in fact, actually, we have a virtual lab environment which is fully functional. So it's, sometimes there are these labs where you can click certain things. I remember Microsoft did this years ago with their certification exams. You knew the answer was wrong if you clicked the wrong series and it stopped. You're like, oh, let me restart the lab and go. So you could actually figure out the lab because it only knew certain steps. The labs that we have are actually fully functional Windows machines or Ubuntu machines. Ubuntu, Kali as a Linux distribution. We've got Splunk. We've got live machines that are out there that you can. They're pre-configured so they're ready to use, but it's a live machine. It's in the cloud and it's your cloud instance to use for the course. Now, of course, we have Slack in between classes, and that's so that people have a question, they can post a message in Slack, and we schedule office hours. And so I have a link in for instance, in our cohort that I'm teaching right now, we have a link. You can schedule me. I'm like, please don't schedule me. Don't schedule me like a half hour from now because I'm probably going to get the notification.
Yeah, exactly.
We try to be flexible. So it's like, I have my calendar blocked out, populated. So people can say, okay, I have availability on Saturday. Okay, I've got availability. The learner can see my availability. They can pick that time. And then we meet together on Slack in a huddle, or we'll hop on a Zoom. Now, the live sessions are recorded, just like this session is recorded. But of course, we always encourage people to be here live, because you get a chance to ask your question. And we always say, just like in this Zoom, you can send a direct message and nobody else knows you asked the question. Or you can say it publicly. And okay, that's great, So you've got options. So it's always great. If you want to be an introvert and you just want to send direct messages, that's fine, right? We just, as an instructor, I just look to see that folks are active in the sessions. And so we will ask questions. We'll say, I don't know, there's this comment here. Oh, it was sent to hosts and panelists and no one else saw it. But when can I tell others my system is secure? And someone said, well, joke and say, well, actually, you are never 100% secure. It is always changing. That's one of the unique things about cybersecurity. But anyway, so as far as, now, I don't know, do you want me to show the LMS, the portal, and the labs?
I think we can do that maybe like a little further. That's okay.
Okay. All right.
And talking about the program, so and at the end of it all, you get a Caltech CDMU Bootcamp certificate, which you can see on the screen here, by California Institute of Technology, Center for Technology and Management Education. You get to work on hands-on projects and integrated labs, which I mentioned before. You receive up to 26 use from Caltech CDMU, which is equivalent to 260 hours of learning, correct? So that's great. And also, I think you get, I think as William mentioned, there's a Slack access as well. But apart from that, there's a Caltech CDMU circle membership, which you get to be a part of. Also, career assist services, which I'll be talking about in the upcoming slides, and online convocation for this program. So obviously, not just your closest family, but your far relatives, friends can also join your online convocation, and that is something very interesting. Doesn't happen in offline setting that often. Now talking about the Caltech CDMU advantage here. So Caltech Institute is a 130-year-old institution. It is a home to a lot of noble alma maters, and also it consistently ranks in top 5 universities worldwide. Having a Caltech CDMU on your CV is really prestigious accomplishment recognized worldwide. So that is what a Caltech CDMU advantage will give you. Before we talk about eligibility and prerequisites, maybe William, you can take us through the LMS. Sure. I think I'll just stop sharing screen, and I've given the access. I think we already have it, so you can do that. Awesome.
All right. So let me just before I forget, let me show. Like, here's an example of Slack. Right. You have the Slack forums here. You have direct messages that you can communicate with others. Right. And this is for the May cohort, which is one of the cohorts I'm working with right now. And so we post information out here. Sometimes we'll post additional links out here. so you're not disconnected. And if you have a question, like some people say, "Oh, I missed."
So
the class."
sorry, William, to stop you. Like they actually are not able to see it. So maybe you can zoom in a bit. Maybe that will be helpful.
This, I don't know if I can zoom in.
Yeah,
Slack.
I think he can't zoom in the Slack, but I think you can definitely zoom in the browser if required, or you can zoom in yourself the screen. So please do that.
Yeah, so this is a Slack application. This is actually not the browser. This literally is the Slack application. I guess you could access it via a web browser. But we can send messages out here, right? To some, I can send a message to the learner, or a learner could send a message. And this is available 24/7. This is available all week long, right? And I have a link up here that you can schedule that impromptu office hour. All right. So as far as I don't want to spend a lot of time in Slack necessarily, but now let's see. I could try to zoom in a little bit on this. Okay, this is what our LMS looks like, right? And someone had asked, "What's the roadmap for someone who's transitioning?" And it was one of the questions that I saw that said, "Well, what if I'm a medical doctor?" Right? And I've actually seen, what if I'm a medical doctor, which is actually good because you know how to triage things. You know how to troubleshoot something. You've learned that as a medical doctor. But I've also heard people talk about you could be a barista. You say a barista. Well, okay, making coffee. Well, because you have to handle all these different inputs to get the outputs to keep your customers happy. So really, it's easy to transition into cybersecurity. I have actually worked with programs probably about 14 years now, where people have been doing career transition to some level or another. And we see them, we bring them in. And this program is configured in such a way that this is the roadmap. And so you get the introduction of cybersecurity fundamentals, right? And you can't secure what you don't know. So we talk about asset and inventory management, and we talk about the network infrastructure and all those networking components. And then we get into programming, right? And these are all, it's like topic areas, and you're doing one at a time, and you're going through as a cohort. So you're going through with other learners, right? System administration. And then, of course, we get to people like, well, give me the fun stuff. I want to see red team. Well, you can't do the red teaming. It's always tough. People say, I'm just going to take an ethical hacking course. I can't just drop you into an ethical hacking course. It just doesn't work, right? And this is where this whole roadmap gets you that foundation, right? So we talk about red teaming. We get you into, which is important. It helps you understand the attacker's motivation, so then you can defend against those attacks, right? So like I said, here are the different, these are the different courses, and at the end, you complete it, you get your certificate. And so let's say, okay, what does one of these look like? Okay, so what does one of these look like? So yeah, we have the interface here with self-learning. If you were registered, you'd have a live class. It would be here with these courses. There are assessments as you go through them, right? There's a project at the end of several of these courses that you have to complete. You have to pass that project in order to go on to the next course, right? Your certificate, you get individual certificates for each of these courses as you're going through it. All right. And now, you can actually look at the various topics along the right-hand side. And I just picked, in this case, the red team, because that's the one everybody loves, right? We love to attack things. We like to break things. And literally you are, you're going to be put into, right? You're going to, we'll demonstrate in the course, and then there's an exercise. And like I said, in that exercise, you actually get to do these steps, right? And you're doing this in a live machine. That is Kali, all right? And of course, I could adjust the zoom a little bit depending upon screen resolution and so forth. You could look at this and say, this has all of the tools that I expect to find, right? Standard. This is not a mock-up. It's a live machine. It is hosted up in the cloud, right? This is actually hosted in Amazon right now, right? And this is an actual This is a Windows server, right? Depending upon the course, we've got Windows servers, we've got Windows workstations, we've got Splunk. Because when you look at, I think it was here on this tab, actually for this course, you actually notice you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of labs. So you got 4 sets of virtual machines. So, you could go through those different labs. And it's easy to start them, to extend them, to end them, to reset them. So if you totally do something, put it down the wrong path, you just click a button and it's going to reset it. I mentioned the course end project. So, for this, this is the red team. So the penetration testing problem, you actually walk through, that's that CTF lab 2 that was over the last one to the right of the labs. And so everything you need is going to be in this virtual environment. And this is really taking everything that's talked about in the course and just asking you to test that. All right. And you submit this, you submit this assignment, and then a faculty member like myself, we would actually review it and see if it meets the criteria necessary to pass. If it doesn't, we send it back to you so you can revise it, and then you can send it back to say, okay, no, right, we'll point out, okay, you missed this, this, and this, or, and then you'll make those changes and upload it. So it is just pass fail. So it's not, some people get worried about, what if I get an A, a B, or a C, or a D, whatever. No, it's pass fail. You can resubmit it. Our goal is that you learn the material and you're able to carry out these steps, right? So that later you're going to go into the workplace and be able to do the job. So we're not about, this program's not about a GPA or a letter grade. So sometimes that will alleviate some of the concern that folks have. Right. So I think I'll turn it back over to you, Rasha.
Awesome. Thank you so much, William, for taking us to the learning environment. Let me quickly share back my screen. I think we covered the learning environment here. So now moving on, talking about the eligibility and prerequisites for this Caltech Cybersecurity Bootcamp. So you need to have a basic knowledge of programming concepts and mathematics. You need to be 18 years of age or older, and a high school diploma is required. You don't have to have a prior work experience for this basically program. So I will be talking now about how this program prepares you. The program builds your cybersecurity skills step by step. William, can you take us through these steps?
Well, yeah, so this is really, a moment ago in the LMS, I was showing a series of courses where you start with that basics, where you get the introduction to cybersecurity and the cybersecurity fundamentals, and each of these courses builds upon the previous course. And it's, you're not taking the same material multiple times either, necessarily, because we know what you've learned in the prior course, which is one of the advantages of having a complete program like this. So when we talk about red teaming, we don't have to explain to you about the network stack because we know we already did that just a few weeks ago. So it's that every one of these courses is building upon the prior course. And then, in the electives, we have office hours, and we've actually made it so you can schedule it on the fly. And we'll host, project hours discussion sessions within the curriculum. And I believe you go through this in roughly 6 months. I know, not to steal your thunder there. I think it's roughly 6 months. Okay, I'm not sure if we had other questions on that. I'll mention, so that we talk about, okay, here's one. What is system administration? So we work our way up, and in asset inventory management, we spend a lot of time in that course in Linux, learning Linux access, because a lot of our data centers are using Linux servers. In the network systems, we're talking about routers and firewalls, intrusion detection systems and the like. We're talking about how the network components all fit together. The programming with Python we have here, you don't have to be a programming expert, but Python is one of those, it's a scripting language. It uses human readable language, and you're going to use it to automate a lot of your tasks. And if you learn Python. You could also transition to Perl or Go or Ruby or the other languages. The key thing is that you have one of them, that you have one of those languages. And so Python is the one. Because, of course, web servers, Python is part of that stack usually. So system administration, we tend to focus on the Windows environment, and that's our, our Windows or Active Directory environments, and administrating our users and adding servers and things of that sort. Now actually, and we have a typo on this slide. I didn't catch it in our review. Offensive security is the first thing. We teach you to be offensive first, and then we teach you how to defend it. And of course, you can't do, like I said, you can't do the blue team or the red team really until you understand what is out there, right? So you know the different pieces, you know the threats that are out there, and then it's, let's teach you how to use the tools to try to exploit the vulnerabilities in these different assets, these different networking components, these different programs that have been deployed. So hopefully that answers that question about system administration. Of course, programming, sometimes people are a little concerned. It's about understanding, scripting and automation with Python, and you want to be able to understand math, like logics of mathematics. This is not calculus. This is not discrete math. Not even I'm great at discrete math. 1 and 1 is 2. It is what it is. I don't ask me to prove it, but I know 1 and 1 is 2. And if you ask me to figure out like the sales tax on something, or different expense rates, or how to put a formula together, those are the kind of things we're looking for. When you multiply, do you multiply the one value, or do you multiply a subtotal? And that's what we mean by that mathematics and that logic processing.
I think we have one question. When you mentioned the blue team and the red team, what does it mean by blue team and red team? So, blue team and red team, I paused for a moment because we're using the defenders or the offensive security. We're trying to use different terms that are not necessarily color related, and from time to time when we can. But the red team was always identified as the red team are the attackers and the blue team are the defenders. And those are just sort of the colors that we've come up with. I don't know. It's like a police thing and the police wear blue. I don't know. I don't know the full origin why they got blue, but they got blue. And so now we see blue team. There's actually, I know there's conferences, there's like Blue Team Con, there's Blue Team Villages and things of that sort that are all for defenders. So it's just sort of they got assigned that color. And the developers got yellow. I don't know why. Awesome. Thank you so much, William, for answering that. I think we are getting a lot of questions. I think we'll take that in the Q&A part. Also, I think just about the electives. So electives are a part of the program, but they're optional. It is up to you if you want to take it. We don't charge anything extra for that. This comes as a part of the program fee which you'll be paying for. Also, we have global leaders as program advisors, Rick Hefner here, who's the Caltech CDMU program director. They basically make sure that Simplilearn is delivering, as per Caltech standard. And also, we'll be talking about learner outcomes moving on. So learner outcomes here, the previous classes have consisted of learners from world-class organizations and diverse industries. You can see they come from IT, software product, BFSI, healthcare, and others. And also from, as we said, that amazing companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Netflix, LinkedIn, Oracle, Adobe, Nasdaq, and many more like that. We mentioned earlier that you'll be getting a Simplilearn Career Assist service, which basically helps you boost your job search. Once you're done with the program, you will get access here to expert webinars. You get to basically choose from real-world projects you can work on and create a portfolio of projects based on that. And also job assist services in association with Talent Inc., which basically is, we have partnered with Talent Inc. here, where you get access to a job portal, Resume Rabbit, and a resume review and rewrite services by Top Resume, and also one-on-one interview service from Top Resume. As you're getting job ready, you're getting out there. So we basically try to provide services for that to Talent Inc. here. So now the most important question here, are you interested in enrolling to the Caltech Cybersecurity Bootcamp? You can see a quick poll on your screen here. So there are two options here. You can say yes and no. Please do let us know your interest. We have talked about the skills, we have talked about the career, we have talked about basically what projects you can add to your portfolio as well. How does the learning environment of this Caltech Cybersecurity Bootcamp looks like? We've talked about what does it look like for a beginner who's basically, trying to pursue cybersecurity here, what this program exactly covers. So you can see a quick poll on your screen here. I'll just keep this poll live for 15 seconds. I can see the polls moving in as I'm speaking, and I can see a lot of interest coming towards the enrollment. So that's great. But again, like if you do have any questions about the program, you can always let us know on the Q&A box here, and we will take those questions as well. Okay, I think while William, they are actually sharing their interest towards the enrollment into the Caltech Cybersecurity Bootcamp. We have gotten a question here in the Q&A box by Arvind. So I think he has completed cybersecurity. Which project should work on for beginners?
Okay, which projects you work on for beginners? Well, and that's actually one of the outcomes of this with these projects that you're doing. If you sign up for this program, you see those course end projects that we have. So those course end projects, you can put them into a portfolio. And actually, even at my level, I'll still get asked, can you give me an example of a policy? Can you give me an example of a procedure? Can you give me an example of a penetration testing report? Can you give me an example of a vulnerability scanning report? And so as far as projects, if you're in this program, you're completing these projects and you put them into like a portfolio that you can show a potential employer, right? And so you would complete the projects that are in the curriculum in the boot camp, right? And that'll it's actually taking you through and having you purposely do a lot of the projects that people potentially would ask you for. After you're completing the program, completing the boot camp, can I consider myself ready to work in any of these? If you have, it's weird. Sometimes if you have some experience in cybersecurity and this is taking it to the next level, then yes, then you're going up to the next level. If you are changing careers, your first role may be more of an entry level role, but the advantage of having completed a program means that you have a better chance of getting that role. You'll have the expertise, so you'll hit the ground running, and your curve hopefully should be a sharper curve as opposed to just sort of plodding along. So hearing Windows, I keep hearing Windows. Do Apple users or MacBook users have to worry about anything? The only thing I've noticed is you do need to use an external mouse to be able to right click in the labs. I've never gotten it to work reliably enough on a MacBook Pro, but it works. You could be Linux, you could be Windows, you could be Mac, you name it. The only thing you might want to have an external mouse because sometimes the built-in touchpads are a little too sensitive or may not do right click. And that's the beauty of everything being up in the cloud. It's because you're just doing keystrokes and mouse gestures. Your machine is the least of the worries usually. Very minimal, and you don't have to go installing virtual machines on your machine. Install this VM on your machine. Nope, it's all up in the cloud. And like I said, click on that reset button. If you toast it, just click reset.
Awesome. I think we'll just take one more question for folks who I can see most of the folks have already shared their interest, if they would like to enroll into the Caltech Cybersecurity Bootcamp. I'll just keep this poll alive for 10 seconds more and then move on to the program details and the Q&A questions. We have tried taking questions throughout the session as well. So I think this question basically, I can't get the name here, but I'll just read out the question. What are the common challenges of fresh graduate experiences when entering cybersecurity space for the first time, and how to tackle them, William?
Well, I want to answer it sort of the reverse. I think in cybersecurity, customer experience, stakeholder experience is key, is essential. And one of the common challenges is it's going to be new to you, right? So how do you tackle them? Is keep your cool, which is kind of a customer service issue, is you always have to keep your cool. And so, you're saying, oh, this is the first time I've done it, and it's going to be stressful, but keep your cool, right? And that's sort of the biggest, and you're saying, be okay with saying, let me look that up. And I, as someone who's done interviews, it's like, okay, you don't need to know everything. Like, I don't need you to know the exact specification. A couple of things I may, and we'll actually talk about, like, in the course. We'll say, okay, if you're looking at a disk volume on Linux, yes, you should know -H for human readable. That's a pretty basic one. Do you need to know all of the switches? No, right? It's okay to say that you can look that up. And just, if somebody asks you a question, if you don't know it, say, that's a good question. But, I always love good questions, and I'll get back to you.
Awesome. Moving on. Thank you so much again, for sharing your views on the questions we have from the folks here. We'll be taking more of your questions here. We'll just extend the session for 5 minutes more, William, if that's okay with you. Awesome. So folks, we have a lot of these expert webinars by industry leaders, just like William here. We basically have it throughout the month. You can go and check it out, upcoming webinars here by experts here. You can see a few webinars on the screen here. Now, I think folks basically were asking about the program fee, EMI option, and enrollment steps. I'll take you quickly through that before we move on to the Q&A part of the session. So there are three simple steps you need to follow for enrollment. You need to basically apply at askus@simplilearn.net and submit an application. Their application will be going for a review. And based on your qualifications, a learning consultant from Simplilearn will be getting in touch with you with the admissions offer letter. The program fee and schedule for this one. Caltech Cybersecurity Bootcamp is $10,000 and I think someone asked about the EMI financing option, so it is available for $880 per month. I'm just sharing the link here once again because this is in dollars. For your own country, you can check out this course page link here and get to know what is the pricing for the program here. And the next cohort, which we have orientation for this, will be happening on October 23rd. And the classes will be starting on October 22nd. Also, you can always reach out to us at askus@simplilearn.net, as I mentioned earlier. I'm just sharing that email ID here on chat in case you have any questions about the program. If you have any doubts, you can always reach out to us. And also, just to let you know that we have very limited seats per cohort. We only take 25 to 30 folks per cohort in this program in order to make sure that you're getting all the attention that is required, while you're basically aspiring for becoming a cybersecurity expert. So I'm just launching a quick poll here to understand folks who have already shared interest towards enrollment into cybersecurity bootcamp. How soon do you plan to enroll into the program? You can see 4 quick options here. The first one being immediately, second one within 3 months, third one within 6 months, and the last one more than 6 months from now. I can already see folks have already started sharing when do they plan to enroll. I would highly recommend folks who have already shared with us, when basically the interest towards enrollment into the program, please do let us know when do you plan to enroll, because that is when basically you'll be reaching out to you with the admissions offer letter, and also you'll be getting a bonus offer for attending this webinar. So in case you're still thinking about it, not sure when exactly you want to start, I would suggest choose the within 6 months or more than 6 months from now option. This way you actually get to keep the bonus offer for attending the webinar. So that's great, right? I think I'll just give 10 seconds more for folks to basically share when do they plan to enroll. And meanwhile, I'll just scroll through the Q&A box. We have gotten a lot of interesting questions here, which we'll be taking in the upcoming slides here. It is the Q&A part of the session upcoming. And I see a lot of questions we have taken throughout the session as well, which were relevant on those particular slides. So yeah, we'll take as many questions as possible. We have extended the time by 6 minutes. But we'll try to extend by a few more minutes just to answer your questions here. So I think I can see that most of the folks have already shared when do they plan to enroll. So thank you so much for that. I'll be ending the poll now and moving on to the Q&A part of the session. So let's see what questions we have gotten here. Okay, I think William will start with JX question. Do I need a computer science degree to get into cybersecurity? I think I mentioned this, right? Like you just need to be 18 years of age or older and have a high school diploma. That is required. I hope that answers your question. And
Diploma
let's.
or equivalent. I'll just say, because in some areas we have like GED or other things.
Mhm.
And one of the things someone told me years ago, there was a position years ago that they required a bachelor's degree. And I was a little snarky at the time, and I say, could it be a degree in basket weaving? And the answer was, is it a bachelor's degree? If yes, it can. Now, but that's based on that job. There are many people in cybersecurity who have no degrees. And my bachelor's degree is not in computer science. I chose to specialize. And in fact, I got a bachelor's degree just to get a degree on paper so that I could get the cybersecurity jobs that I wanted. And from there, there's been so much education that, it's, you don't need a computer science degree. That's the short answer at all.
Thank you so much, William, for answering that. I hope that answers your question. Please do let us know on chat or in the Q&A box here. We have one very interesting question. Can a medical doctor, precisely a general practitioner, become a cybersecurity engineer? I am 28 and I'm worried I'm too old for this. I want a career change and I love technology. While I was reading that, I felt old when he told that I was 28 years old, feeling old. So, yeah.
No, and I kind of answered, I think I mentioned it earlier when I was talking because I saw that question. And that's just a common question people have. And there's another question that's very similar. It's talking about someone from a customer service or sales background, trying to remember the question. And no, you can transition. In fact, if you're a medical doctor, you're used to triaging problems. You're used to following you're taking care of the patient. You have to figure out what's wrong with the patient, get to the root cause of it, and give them some sort of treatment. And absolutely, you can transfer into cybersecurity. You could be a barista, was what the example I gave earlier. You name it. This is all something it's all learnable. And people say, oh, it's computers are a foreign language. They're only a foreign language if you choose to make it a foreign language. And of course, you've got trainers such as myself who are going to be with you through the program. And that's a big change too. Is it's not like you're not like, here's a book, figure it out. No, you're going to have a faculty member who's going to be with you. And if you need a little bit of extra time, they have those office hours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, William, for answering that. Please let us know on chat if that answers your question. I think we'll take one last question here from the Q&A box. I have shared with you on chat here as well. Daniel has asked that considering the different fields you walked us through after completing this bootcamp, can I consider myself ready for to work in any of those fields depending on my personal preference?
You would be free to choose whichever direction you wanted to go in. I think I mentioned, incident response and digital forensics. Those do require special skills if you choose that as your path. But oftentimes you can get an entry-level role where you're looking at logs. And so you'll get that SOC analyst or that initial incident response role. And that's the thing to keep in mind when we say digital forensics, there's going to be entry-level roles and there's going to be senior-level roles. And you will be able to look at those entry-level roles and jump into them if you have no experience. If you have some experience, then this just enhances that and builds you up. So what you come in with will affect the role that you get when you exit the program. But your as far as your curve is your what do they call that? The trajectory, right? Your trajectory is still going to be up. It's going to be an upward trajectory. And that's what this program does really is this program tries to give you that baseline knowledge, and then you can choose where you want to specialize. I know people who don't know the difference between a vulnerability and an exploit and an interpreter session or a netcat. People say netcat has little cute ears and a tail. No. And so we do go. So when I say it's baseline knowledge, no, we actually do try to equip you so that you can take on these roles. And you've got access to these labs 24/7. So, you have an instructor that's, what is it? It's 3 nights a week, usually 3 hours. And then you've got access to the labs the rest of those hours, the whole rest of the week. So you can dive into it, and take as much time in there as you want. And that's what really makes it great. It's not like sometimes you have these environments where you go to this building and you attend a class and, 3 hours you have to leave. And now you don't have access to anything. And so, yes, you go through this program. If you find you want to spend more time, you have the resources to you. So you're not constrained either. That's the other advantage of this flexible boot camp is, because it's online through Caltech CDMU, right? If you want to spend extra time in that lab, you can do so. You want to have questions answered, you have Slack available. You can send a message that's that asynchronous response time, or you could schedule an office hour session. And so, yes, you could put yourself into that position where you would be able to take on at least an entry-level position in any of those areas that we talked about.
Thank you so much, William, for answering that. Daniel, do let us know in chat if that answers your question. I think we'll be pausing now, taking questions from the Q&A box. We have extended the time already. So last quick poll here. So folks who have already shared their interest towards enrollment into the Caltech Cybersecurity Bootcamp and also have let us know how soon do you plan to enroll. Please do let us know, do you need assistance into enrolling into the Caltech Cybersecurity Bootcamp? You can see 2 quick options here, yes or no. You can just quickly choose that, as per your convenience. If you need assistance, yes. If you don't need assistance, the second one. I would recommend to take the assistance. Why not take the extra help you're getting, right? So please do let us know. I'll just keep this poll alive for 5 seconds more. I can see folks have already started sharing their responses here on poll. And meanwhile, for folks basically asking questions regarding a career roadmap. So sorry, this is a program preview, but we have a lot of career masterclasses also, lined up for you. So you can basically join that as well for cybersecurity. I can see response from Daniel here on chat key. Yes, thanks, Evan. Got it. Okay. Also, folks, if you want to check out the program for your own region, I have shown you for folks who are in the US region. But you can check out the program fee and the details remain the same for region-wide. But you can check out the fee and the EMI options, the financial options that are available for your own region here using this link. And if you have any questions, obviously, you can always reach out to us at askus@simplelearn.com. So I think I've seen that most of the folks have already shared their responses for the poll here. So I'll end the poll now. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We are towards the end of the session now. Would like to thank William for taking us through this program review for Caltech Cybersecurity Bootcamp and answering so many questions even throughout the session, and also extending the session for a few more minutes just to address as many queries as possible for the audience here. Would you like to say something to the audience before we leave?
So I saw a couple of comments that how do I know cybersecurity is for me? And I posted a message in the chat box. Take a look at CISA.gov. And in the search box, you could type in it's called the NICE framework, NICE framework. And it talks about all the different roles. And you're going to see that the roles they talk about, they may use different verbs or different names or different nouns that we used, but really that it's very similar there. And of course, that's if you're in the United States, it's your tax dollars at work. So it's not sponsored. It's no one who's trying to sell, the CISA is not trying to sell you a product, as opposed to sometimes we see YouTubers and the information may even be wrong. Mm-hmm. So we want to hope that, we hope that you would join us on a cohort. And we hope that you found the session beneficial, and we hope to see you on a future cohort.
Yeah. Thank you so much once again, William. I think we just have a few questions on chat here. I'll address that quickly about the recording. So I think I mentioned that earlier in the session that you can expect a recording link over the follow-up email you'll get for attending the session. And you can go through it in case you want to basically go through the program once again, in case you want to put the webinar once again. So please don't worry about that. You'll get that over mail. And also about the webinar certificate, you will also receive that over mail in few days. So again, thank you once again, everyone, for being an amazing audience here. and also, giving us some interesting questions, answer to as well, on cybersecurity. Thank you so much once again. I think someone's asked me about the post-webinar survey. So now when I end the session now, you will actually see a post-webinar survey pop up in which you need to put down your full name in order to see that name in your webinar certificate. So please do that. There will be an option to put down your full name there. And also please let us know, any feedback you have about the webinar in general, what we can do better on the post-webinar survey. So feel free to do that. We would love to know your feedback, so how we can do that better. So thank you so much once again. Have a good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you so much. Thank you, folks. We'll be ending the session now.